pong kilala mo naman kung sino ka eh. Alam mo naman na kung kano kalaking pwersa na itong naghahanap sa iyo. At alam mo naman yung mga taong nahuli na namin at anong pwedeng magawa nito laban sa iyo. Sumuko ka na. Sumuko ka na. Sa mga hindi pa nauhuli, sumuko na kayo. Yung nag-utos sa inyo, iba utak niyan. Magbabayad talaga itong gumawa nito. He will give them, sabi nga, ang presidente na ito, galit na galit ang presidente. Give them the full force of the law.
From the nation's capital, all sides, all the time. I'm Sean Yao.
And I'm Gretchen Ho. The big story tonight.
The remains of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Digamo have been brought back to his hometown in Siaton.
And while many are left mourning his death, the province is seeing tighter security and hits to tourism following the massacre. Justin Punsalang with the big story.
White flags and banners calling for justice. This is how residents of the town of Siaton honor their late Governor Roel Digamo. For them, there are no words to describe the tragic loss.
Masakit. Matay siya, bakit? Walang alam siguro.
Malungkot dahil mabait siya. Lahat-lahat galit at lungkot.
The late governor was born and had grown up in Siaton. It's also where he started making a name in politics. Digamo started as a councilor and quickly made his way up as vice governor of the province in 2010. By 2011, he became governor of Negros Oriental. The Digamo family believes that crime syndicate could be the ones behind the murder. Other relatives say that politics as well as illegal drugs and online sabong could have something to do with the murder. However, the family did not elaborate on this. What's clear is that the incident prompted tighter security in Negros Island. Military and police personnel have been deployed in the area, including soldiers that served during the Marawi siege. Multiple checkpoints have also been set up, while manhunt operations for the other suspect continue.
We are looking in the entirety ng peace and order ng buong isla ng Negros kasi anything that happens here in Oriental sometimes spill over with Negros Occidental.
Aside from threats to security, the recent massacre also affected tourism in the island.
Nakita ko na mas nakunti na ang darating dito sa aming resort. Maraming nagka-cancel sa akin dahil yung ito pala nga, yung talaga nga nangyari ngayon.
Sinasabi nila mismo, ma'am, na natatakot.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, with the remains of the late governor now back in his hometown, many are hoping to pay their final respects. Viewing will be open to the public until tomorrow morning. The late governor will be laid to rest on Thursday afternoon. For News 5, Justine Punsalang. We are One News.
Multiple complaints have been filed against the suspects in the killing of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Digamo and 8 others. Aside from murder complaints, the suspects are facing charges for illegal possession of firearms and explosives. Authorities now have 4 suspects in custody and are zeroing in on a possible mastermind. The special task force led by Interior Secretary Benhur Abalos has yet to disclose details on this, as cases are still being finalized. Last week, the arrested suspects tagged a certain Congressman Teves as the brains behind the ambush. Negros Oriental Representative Arnie Teves, who is out of the country, has since denied involvement in the murder.
Alam pong kilala mo naman kung sino ka eh. At alam mo naman yung mga taong nahuli na namin at anong pwedeng magawa nito laban sa iyo. Sumuko ka na. Sumuko ka na. Mahirap ang pangalanan, wag muna natin pangalanan.
Congressman Teves's legal team is also appealing to authorities to look at all possible angles in the case. They said that it is possible that Congressman Teves is just being framed after claims that he is involved in e-sabong operations.
Kaya nga sabi ko, the investigator must explore all leads. Baka ibang motibo. Baka lang, hindi ko sinasabing totoo. Baka isabong, Teves tagged as mastermind. Walang nagtatag eh. may inambush interview sila. Sabi, may kausap po kami, si Marvin. Sabi, si Congressman Teves daw. Hindi naman acceptable yun eh. Hindi admissible yun eh.
Meanwhile, the National Police is investigating if there are lapses on the part of the security escorts assigned to Governor Degamo. 5 of Degamo's police escorts failed to show up for duty on the day of the ambush.
Initially kasi, ang ano dyan is the 5 personnel na sinasabi na security ni Governor Degamo. Ito ay siya mismo ang namili. Kilala niya itong mga ito. And siguro they have to explain nga bakit ano. But usually kasi yung 5 na yan may rotation kasi yan eh. Hindi naman ibig sabihin na everyday yung 5 na yan ay magre-report for duty.
Cagayan de Oro Representative Rufus Rodriguez called on the Senate to act on proposals seeking to amend the 1987 Constitution, saying it is the will of the majority and a matter of courtesy. Rodriguez issued a statement in response to Senate President Miguel Zubiri's remark that charter change is not a Senate priority and it is unlikely to gain support from senators. Zubiri said that they need 18 votes to pass changes to the Constitution, but half of the Senate reportedly do not support the idea. Senator Robin Padilla is the one leading the push for charter change in the upper house. He stressed that this is aimed at amending only the economic provisions of the Constitution and has nothing to do with the country's political structure. Other senators, however, said that without President Marcos's push, the Senate would not make Chacha a priority.
Any signal yet from the president himself. We have remained the character. We have remained as the fiscalizer of government, but also we are very supportive of the administration's main programs because the success of the administration, the executive, will be our success as well.
Niniwala ako pagka nabasa ng aking mga kasamang senador yung bill ko at narinig nila ako sa plenaryo at naniwala sila sa akin na economic provision lang ang gagalawin natin.
And coming right up, environmental groups warn that the oil spill in Oriental Mindoro could soon make its way to coastal areas of Verde Island and other parts of Batangas. When we return, we'll be speaking with Center for Energy, Ecology and Development Executive Director Jerry Arances and Batangas Governor Dindo Mandanas. Keep it here on One News. Story here on One News. The oil spill from the sunken vessel in Oriental Mindoro threatens to reach Verde Island Passage. Here's what we know. Experts from the UP Marine Science Institute warned that the oil spill could reach the Verde Island Passage or VIP, citing the weakening amihan. They say some of the oil may flow northwards towards other areas of the VIP by March 16, Thursday, affecting coastal areas of Calapan, Verde Island, and some parts of Batangas. But where exactly is the Verde Island Passage located? Well, VIP is the body of water between Batangas and Mindoro. UPMSI notes that it has the highest concentration of coastal fishes, corals, crustaceans, mollusks, seagrasses, and mangroves. The VIP is also home to endangered and threatened species, including the critically endangered hawksbill turtle, whale sharks, manta rays, and dugongs, among others. Also based on UPMSI's recent simulation, most of the oil will end up along Nawan Coast and Pola Bay in Mindoro by Thursday. Cleanup efforts are currently underway in these areas. The Japanese Coast Guard has sent a team to boost efforts, while over the weekend, the Philippine government has also sought the help of the U.S. in containing and cleaning up the oil spill.
And to talk to us more about the threat of this oil spill on the Verde Island Passage, we have with us now on the show Jerry Aran. He is the Executive Director of the Center for Energy, Ecology and Development. Sir Jerry, welcome to The Big Story. Thank you for joining us. Sir Jerry, what can you tell us about the biodiversity in the Verde Island Passage, and how concerning is the potential impact of the oil spill?
Good evening, Sean and Raisha, Gretchen. This is really a horrible news, no? Because of the changes of wind currents. It will now simulate, based on simulations, will affect Batangas and the rest of Mindoro, the other parts of Mindoro, which is really horrible because there's a lot of marine protected areas within the Verde Island Passage with Mindoro and Batangas now possibly getting affected. The rest of Mindoro. The Verde Island Passage is touted as the Amazons of the oceans. It's the center of global marine shortfish, with concentration of marine species and corals and many others like the turtles, etc. No, but it also is a treasure economically because around 2 million fisher folks are dependent on marine resources from the Verde Island Passage. It is estimated that it produces around at least 12 billion a year in terms of fish catch, notwithstanding the booming tourism industry. In the 4 municipalities of Batangas, which basically are the main destination of tourism, like Lian, Mabini, and 2 others, it is producing around at least 5 billion a year pesos. And if you include the already affected tourism industry of Mindoro, it can reach to around close to 10 billion pesos a year. So there's really a lot of implications now that is projected that it will affect the Verde Island Passage, concretely Batangas and the rest of Mindoro.
Sir, according to forecasts, this will probably hit the Verde Island Passage by Thursday. We still have time. Is there anything we can do at this point to be on defensive mode? And do mangroves actually work at stopping the oil spill from entering the place?
We're now in racing against time, no? And that's why we've been urging the government to act quickly. It's really appalling that until today there is the existence of a remote operating vehicle, the rover, that will identify the exact location and the spill. In order for us to be able to contain it, it's still missing. It's not yet operational, and that's really concerning. But I think the government, the local governments of Batangas, Mindoro, and the rest of the Verde Island Passage should mobilize the citizenry, especially our fisherfolk communities who will be greatly affected because there are many indigenous ways, no, especially taking off from the learnings of the Guimaras oil spill. That once you mobilize communities, they can do their share in terms of addressing or containing the oil spill. Unfortunately, yes, mangroves will play a very critical role, but it will also be affected by the oil spill.
Right. You mentioned that the locals of the area, who are, of course, mostly going to be affected by the oil spill in their daily lives, they have taken action. But how efficient are these oil spill booms that all the municipalities along the shore have been putting up? And also, Sir Jerry, how effective is just conducting cleanup operations versus, just plugging the source of the problem, which could take time and technology?
This is where all the lessons coming from the Guimaras disaster comes to the fore, no? And there are really lacking and concerning details that shows that we haven't learned from that disaster. And that's why we're glad that the Philippine government is now mobilizing the international community, because the international community, specifically those that are, have been effective in terms of dealing with oil spills, can actually mobilize their capabilities technology-wise. Because at the end of the day, one should go into the source of containing it. And that's why we've been really urging the government to immediately deploy a remote operating vehicle to identify the exact location and eventually be able to at least have the chance to close the oil spill from the source, because that's where it should be actually in terms of concrete actions.
All right, just one more question, Sir Jerry, really quickly as a follow-up. Are you satisfied with the government response so far? After the Guimaras oil spill, if I remember correctly, a task force was immediately formed to address this by then-President Arroyo. As you said, we seem to have not learned anything from the oil spill, although the PCG did say that we do have some sort of a system for when this happens again. What can you say about this, the response of the government? Yeah,
this is really, it's really concerning. We know the magnitude of the challenge, no? This is like affecting multiple layers in terms of the VERDE Island Passage and its economic and biodiversity implication. And it's really quite clear that what the government is doing right now is, it's not enough. And that's why we need to urge the government, we're urging the government to actually disclose and be transparent about the gaps so that civil society groups, the church, and local communities can actually, do their part in terms of helping the government to addressing this, because at the end of the day, we are all affected on this. And as well as, I think today, the owner of the oil has surfaced already, the news about the owner of the oil, because accountabilities and responsibilities should also be exacted on not just the ship owner, but actually the owner of the oil itself. And it turns out that, a subsidiary of San Miguel owns the oil.
Well, we will definitely get that message across later on. We'll be having Batangas Governor with us. In the meantime, thank you very much for your thoughts, Mr. Jerry Arances, Executive Director of the Center for Energy, Ecology, and Development. And now, to tell us their plans for potential response, we have with us on the line Batangas Governor Dindo Mandanas. Welcome to the big story, Governor.
Good evening to you and to all our listeners.
Hey, sir, you've heard Sir Jerry Arances talk about this containment of the oil spill. Give us first some updates. Where are we right now? How are we defending the potential spread of the oil spill to the VERDE Island Passage?
Well, at the moment, we are, of course, not only aware, but really preparing for this right on the hour when we learned about this oil spill. Our province is one of the provinces that has organized years ago a department really to mitigate disasters like this. We have been hit by typhoons, earthquakes, explosion of the Taal volcano, and of course COVID, and we were prepared for those. And right now, I could really say that our department is really prepared for it. But this is a national issue, which disaster like this has not been devolved to the local government. But nevertheless, Batangas, being the blessed location of the center, of the very center of the marine biodiversity of the whole world, the Verde Island Passage, it means that we have been studying, really, not only studying, but preparing for the
Sir, when you say
worst.
you're preparing for this, what exactly have you already deployed? And how are the resources of the LGU? Are they enough for the containment?
Well, I could say that we are prepared for it, we're ready for it, and we have been preparing for the past, since I became governor in 1995. Because, we have been hosting at that time, almost 100% of the oil supply of our country. We were hosting, right now there are no longer refineries, but oil farms, Shell and Chevron, Caltex. So, and we have organized like 20 years ago and practicing all the oil spill, because we also have our oil spill when it comes to the crude oil coming from Middle East, going to Shell and Chevron. So we have all the precautions prepared. We hosted the United Nations and the International Maritime Organization way back in 1996, all the way to 2006.
Right, Governor,
So,
yes.
in other words, what we're saying is we're monitoring, we're prepared for it. But this is not only the local government. This is in coordination with the private sector, as they said, the oil refineries. So we were able to purchase like patrol boats, because it's a treasure that we have in the Philippines, and specifically in Batangas, Verde Island Passage. It is the center of the whole world, which means there are this is the most number of marine species that exist in the world. They're concentrated in this Verde Island Passage.
Right, the Governor
It's
Dodo.
standard for us to prepare for this.
Yes, Governor. We understand that you're prepared because also we do know that Batangas has, of course, I think most of the oil refineries, all of the ports that are ready to accept oil.
We supply from Batangas, we supply 60% of the oil product.
So have you actually enacted any of the safety precautions as a result of the oil spill, even though the oil spill did not come from the refineries per se and the ports per se?
No, of course, as we said, we have been doing it from the time the time I became governor. We were fortunate that we were able to organize. We have an association for the coastal prevention, composed of, let's say, the power plants, because all of them are being supplied by natural gas coming from Malampaya. We produce 3,200 megawatts, and if you just there in Batangas Bay, and we're increasing it. So what we're saying is we have prepared for all these calamities, and we have been prepared, and we have been exposed to them in not the magnitude that right now is there, but smaller magnitude probably. Shell had this incident, Caltex has similar incidents before, and they were contained.
All right, so you're confident, Governor, that Batangas is protected, yeah?
Well, we are prepared for it, but from the very beginning, we already knew that it would not flow to Batangas. It would flow towards the west, towards southwest. But now, because of the amihan, but now our experts, and we believe them, okay, that the weakening, there will be a change in the wind, and that oil is on top, okay?
All right, thank you so much for your...
They wouldn't really affect the bottom where the marine lives mostly are. So what would be affected with the beaches? And it is true that we are really the second, Batangas is the second biggest number of tourists that we are hosting.
All right, we've run out of time. Unfortunately, sorry to cut you off. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Governor Mandanas.
You don't have to be sorry.
Thank you, sir.
Right after the break, Multidimensional Adventure, everything, everywhere, all at once, dominated the 95th Academy Awards. The details when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching the big story here on One News.
Everything, everywhere, all at once wins big in this year's Oscars.
The film also made history for most of its main cast members. MJ Marfori tells us more in this report.
The Oscar goes to Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once came into the Oscars as a favorite, and it won like 1, 2. The metaphysical multiverse comedy bagged the prestigious Best Picture trophy at the Academy Awards, as Hollywood embraced an offbeat story about a Chinese-American family working out their problems across multiple dimensions. The film took home a total of 7 trophies out of 11 nominations, making it the most awarded Best Picture since Slumdog Millionaire in 2008. The movie also claimed 3 of 4 acting Oscars for stars Michelle Yeoh, Ke Huy Quan, and Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeoh specifically became the first Asian woman to be named Best Actress. The 60-year-old Malaysian-born actress also claimed the first Best Actress win for a non-white actress in 20 years.
For all the little boys and girls who look like me watching tonight, this is a beacon of hope and possibilities. This is proof that dreams dream big and dreams do come true. And ladies, don't let anybody tell you you are ever past your prime. Never give up.
Best Actor went to Brendan Fraser, culminating the former action star's return to center stage for his physical transformation as a 600-pound reclusive professor in The Whale.
I started in this business 30 years ago, and things they didn't come easily to me, but there was a facility that I didn't appreciate at the time until it stopped. And I just want to say thank you for this acknowledgement, because it couldn't be done without my cast.
Other winners include Avatar: The Way of the Water, which won the Oscar for Best Visual Effects. Ruthie Carter, who won Best Costume Design for Wakanda Forever. The German film All Quiet on the Western Front, based on the 1929 novel by Erich Maria Remarque, which won the Best International Feature Film Oscar.
And best
For News 5, MJ Marfori, we are One News.
And that's the big story tonight. For more updates, follow News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. You may also log on to onenews.ph for more in-depth analyses. I'm Sean Yao.
The big story is also available via Signal Play app. Make a free account now at signalplay.com and stream One News anytime, anywhere. I'm Gretchen Ho. Stay safe, Philippines.
We are One News. All sides, all the time.